Hey, 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 you know what time it is.
It's time for the Heart to Heart Journey to Unconditional Love podcast.
Absolutely. I am your host, the late bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, we back for another week. What's going on?
It's another week, it's a new thing. So let's just celebrate in all the newness of the new week.
You signaling the newness of the newness. Oh, so what we having a heart to heart about today? We've been having some good heart to heart. So what we heart to heart about today?
Well, today, the Women's Village came up with a question that they wanted posed. And it says,
What does
why
it
are
say?
men emotionally detached when it comes to sex?
Whoa. So y'all really trying to get it in. Y'all really want to know what's going on in the
A
male
deep dive.
deep dive, huh? I see.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a loaded question. Why are men emotionally detached when it comes to sex? Okay. I think it could be a lot of different things. Um, it just depends. First thing, it just depends on where you're at in your relationship.
Okay.
Um, I've seen it where men are emotionally detached because women work too much. They're professionals. They work too much, and when they ask, they don't. It's like later, and later becomes never. and
Okay.
that's one. I know that's one. So men detach from that. So they're like, wow, I'm trying to get into this, and you're claiming to be too tired. Like, you know, that's one.
So
Um,
emotional detachment, whereas wanting to feel close to the other person, but the other person is always too busy to put that time aside um to actually have fun in the relationship, to devote time to each other.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me circle back. I'm gonna go back because I think when this question was posed, I believe it comes from this angle. I think
Mhm.
I think women believe men don't express themselves sensually when it comes to sex in the bed, and I think that's where this question. I think this is what your village was really trying to say. So I'm
Mhm,
telling you
mhm.
what your village was trying to say. How about
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Clarify the village. Clarify it for
that?
the village.
Because I can't see any other reason why this question would come about because I think it's a it's a misnomer, it's a myth that men are not because they don't express themselves emotionally. It's the same thing that happens when it comes to sex. Because first of
Okay.
all, let me say this: the question shouldn't be why are men emotionally detached when it comes to sex, because sex should be it should be changed for the word love making when making love, because when you
Okay.
say sex now you're,
And
you're
there's no
making it
attachment in
impersonal.
sex.
Huh?
There's no attachment in sex.
Exactly. So you're making it impersonal when you're saying sex,
Right.
because if men are looking at it as sex, then you're not going to get that emotionally attachment because it's sex, it's not love making.
Right.
So let's go back to your village and tell them to get the question right, and men can answer it the way that they wanted to be answered. But since this is the
Since it's
heart to
here,
heart,
since it's here already,
yes,
let's
this is the
just
heart to
proceed
heart,
with
and we having a heart
what
to
we can
heart,
say.
and you got the late bloomer. The late bloomer could decipher this for the audience and let them know what they really were asking. And I think it comes down to, I know I started out with I just think men sometimes don't are turned off when they have a professional woman and they working all the time, and they constantly ask, and it's like no, 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 or later, 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 and they get pumped up. Okay, I'm gonna get some later. Then when they go to bed, their spouse is asleep.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking along those terms too. But I think again, and I know I'm all over the place. Audience, just bear with me here. The emotional part to it, men can be emotional. Again, if we change that word from sex to love making, but I
Okay.
think it's a myth, or it's a given that men just want to grind instead of actually becoming emotionally attached to, because that's what it is. Now, this probably came from a person who is not married in your village.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, I don't know if they would use sex. I think they would use lovemaking, because I think it's a little different when
Mhm.
it's there. Because if you're not married, then it is, you're either dating or it's a hookup. Yeah, men are going to be detached when it comes to sex for a lot of reasons, and I can break some down. They don't want to get too involved. They want to keep it distance and personal, so they don't become too attached to that person. They don't
Mhm.
want to catch feelings.
Right.
How about that? They don't want to catch feelings. So
Right.
those are some of the things that you can take back to your village to say, hey, I talked to the late bloomer. This is what he feels the men are saying on there. But I know you have some ideas about this too.
Well, I mean, I'm right there with, some if it's about sex, then, like you said, guys are here for a short time, not a long time, right? I'm just here to get what I can get and just be gone and not detached. I don't want to be attached to the feelings. I don't want to be attached to the relationship if it's just sex. So there's a lot of things that you got to keep in mind when it comes to those things. If you're just saying sex, then yeah, there's a lot of reasons why you really don't attach in sex. You are if that's what you're doing, that's just what you're doing. If you're making love and you have somebody that you love and you want to be with, there's a lot of reasons why there are detachments. And I think some of them are because maybe it's mundane, becomes routine.
Mhm.
Maybe there's no spark, right? Maybe it's just like, let's just get it. Okay, he wants some, just give him to him. I know a lot of women and a lot of older women and a lot of women that I've spoken to as I grew up, and who was, they thought they was giving me really, really good advice, and I took it for what it was worth. I have friends who are like, no, like once you get married, you have to have sex no matter whether you want to or not. You just got to do it because that's your husband. You do what your husband says. And some people are like, my husband does not allow me to sleep with underwear or clothes on because he wants access every time. And so there's different levels to that. But it also comes it also comes with the experience for the woman not to just necessarily think that is only for his pleasure. That is also for your pleasure as well. And you have a right to say, hey, I want to try something, or I want to do something, or maybe you don't sleep with your clothes on, or whatever the case may be. But I just feel like there's when you're in something that you want to be attached, when you want an attachment, then you have to have a mental attachment as well as a sexual attachment, because there's a lot that comes with sleeping with someone and making love to someone or having sex with someone.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Well, first of all, I'm gonna put the onus on women. Have y'all become detached too? Because sometimes
Yeah,
your
women have
detachment,
become detached. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
sometimes your detachment forces the man to become detached. Oh, if she don't care, then I don't care. I'm gonna just
Yeah,
get my rocks off and I'm good, and I'm good. I just need a release, and as long as you give me my release, I'm good. That's another reason why it could be an emotional detachment, because you guys have detached. You know what I mean? So that's one.
absolutely.
Um, I'm with the routine. Women can believe that it's become routine. There's no um, creativity in the bedroom. It's the same position, the same way, to this, to that, and it become monotonous. I know you touched on this routine earlier. That could be a reason why, because that's how the woman wants it.
Hmm.
So the man becomes detached. Like, we just gonna do it missionary. We just gonna do it this. We just gonna do it this way. That's it. No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing that. No foreplay. Things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And you got to take that stuff into consideration. I, so here's
It's a
my
whole thing. I think that people confuse the act as just one physical thing. It's
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's the atmosphere. It's the conversations. It's the talking. It's the foreplay. It's the all of it, right?
Yeah.
If you reduce it down to just one thing, then it's hard to be attached in that just one act.
Yeah.
And that's just how I see it. But I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I know that you have some reasons why women can feel this way.
Mhm.
Um, but I think a lot of women, they go with the flow, and then after all is said and done, like, what? No cuddles? You're not calling me? You're not gonna buy me some candy? Like, so you're
Yeah.
looking for all of the things that is not going to be there, and maybe you're looking for the wrong things
Yeah.
because it's a different situation.
But I'm glad that you brought that up because they feel that if they don't get the cuddle after the act, then they're not emotionally attached to it. And that's not necessarily true. You know, again, you take it from a man's perspective. They're
Yeah,
working. They are working. They are actually working. You know what I mean? They are doing the act of working physically, and that takes a lot out of you. And then when the release comes, that takes a lot out of you too. So it's more like, yes, I'm ready to. Whew, I'm tired. It's either I'm gonna shower, I'm gonna wash off, and then I'm going to bed because I'm tired because I've just been working after I've been working. You know what I mean? So that's one part of it. The other part of it, I'm gonna say like this, and I'm gonna be honest because we having a heart to heart. We having a heart to heart on the Brown.
yes,
We are.
yes,
Well, you sound
yeah.
so enthused about it.
We are. We're definitely
Yeah,
having a hard time. Yes.
you're having a hard time. So I'm gonna say this: if you're not excited every day when you come home from work to see your wife and want to make love to her, or vice versa, you don't want to make love to your husband, then shame on y'all. Shame on y'all.
Right.
I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how much it's been. I don't care what have you. Have you ever noticed why there is the act of having sex or making love? Because when two people come together, y'all are getting all your worries, your cares, your burdens, and all that. Y'all are putting it together and releasing it together as one. Let me say
Yeah.
that again because I don't think a lot of people really understand. It's to procreate now. Don't get me wrong. You have love making and sex to procreate, but at the same time, on a day-to-day daily grind, if you come home and you adore your life and you adore your wife, adore your husband, adore your partner, and are into them the way that they should be into you, and you have that act of lovemaking and having sex, it's a release for both of you.
It is.
It's
But
it and
I
it
think that
you're doing something together to release all of the burdens, the cares, the dealing with your coworkers, dealing with somebody calling you this, dealing with you made a mistake at work and your job made you feel like it's the end of the world, things of that nature, just to grind the stress every day that you have to deal with and dealing with your coworkers and dealing with a lot of things that come with being at an office. And I know a lot of people work from home. That should make it even better because it'd be love making 24/7. I'd have to get work in. You know what I'm saying? But that's I know I'm saying it to be funny, but at the same time, shame on you guys and girls if you don't adore your significant other where you want to see them every day, where you want to make love and have sex every day.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I totally agree.
I mean, yeah. So you know what made me,
Wait,
you know, what came to thought to my mind was if people out there saw the movie The Brothers, D.L. Hughley and his wife, they were having issues because she wouldn't perform a sexual act on him, and it put them to where they separated.
right.
I know it's more to the story, but that was the one of the main issues of if you don't respect me enough to go into this. You don't respect me enough to do things with me. That's why I'm a segue this into this because you know we got to drop what?
A
So we
scripture.
get ready to drop the scripture. So what's the scripture is? Oops, it's First Corinthians. Let me get that, fix that. And while I'm doing that, go ahead and tell the people what that is, what that scripture says, Harlan Brown. Can you read that for me?
Absolutely. It
It is
says
First Corinthians
7:3-5.
7:3-5. Okay,
Yes,
yeah, I'm
seven
really
three.
messing up today. So much for our audio to put our visual audio department.
That's okay. We're
What
gonna
does
get
it
it.
say?
It says the husband should fulfill his marital duties to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent, and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self control.
Yeah, that's think about that scripture. It's a lot in that scripture, but you have to look at that. Let's break it down. Give me that first sentence there on there.
Okay, so it says husbands should fulfill their wifely duties,
Their
and
wifely
likewise,
duties.
I'm sorry, husbands should fulfill their marital duties
Yeah.
to his wife, and
Yes.
likewise the wife to her husband.
So stop right there. Again, y'all are in this together. God made man and woman. Fulfill your husband duties. Fulfill your wifely duties, husbandly, and your wifely duties. That's part of it. That's why you have unconditional love. That's why you don't let anger get into your relationship. That's why you don't do that. And if it does, people used to tell me, well, back in the day, break up to make up, because the making up was the best part of everything. So even
Yeah.
if you're angry with each other, even if you had a disagreement, even if there's something that got him, something triggered you. I know we talked about that in the podcast previous to this. If something triggered you, then you're bringing that together and you're giving it to each other so that y'all can rid each other of all those burdens, the anger, the everything that you have to go through in a day.
Mhm.
Okay. What's that second? So let's get to the second part. What's the second part of that verse?
The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife.
See that? You don't have authority over your own body because you're married to each other. Now, I am going to say this. Let's not take that. Let's not lead to our own understanding. So
Oh, definitely.
her not getting on the pole, you can't get mad because she ain't getting on the pole for you and all that other stuff. You can't. We're not, and we're talking about, and we're going to hit that last part of that where other things come in. No, that doesn't mean bringing somebody else into the bedroom too. So
Exactly.
get that
It's
out of your head.
definitely it's definitely a mutual thing because if you're trying to satisfy your partners and your body is not your own, it is definitely don't do anything. I think you need to be mindful of the person's feelings as well. Like it's not just because you have a domination over something doesn't mean that you take advantage of that.
Exactly, and it has to be. Go ahead to finish that last sentence because I know this goes it.
Do not deprive each other, except perhaps for mutual consent for a time, so that you can devote yourselves to prayer.
Stop right
Then,
there. Stop right there.
okay,
Again,
gotcha.
you doing everything. You're doing everything. And the only time that God is saying this, the only time that you can, you stop when y'all have a mutual understanding and say, this is what's going on, but we're going to pray
Right.
together. Again, we talk about this all the time on this podcast. A family that prays together stays together. So pray about it. So if you feel that your partner is emotionally detached from sex or make love making, pray about it. Pray
Yep.
about it, and it'll come better. And okay, I know our time is up. I hate that. I hate this, but we're gonna finish this. What you got that last part?
Okay, so the last part states, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Okay, so the last part states, then come together again so that Satan cannot tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Yes, that's what I mean by that third person in there. Nah, that's not what we're talking about here. Let not Satan tempt you to do devious stuff. Now,
Go outside your
whatever's mutual,
relationship.
yes, whatever's mutual and you guys do behind closed door, that's up to y'all. We're not telling you not to do this or whatever. I'm not the police. I'm not the bedroom police. I'm not the marriage police or anything like that. We're just having a heart to heart with you. The question, again, because we're going back to the question, why are men emotionally detached when it comes to sex? We've gone down a lot of different things, women. So hopefully you understand that, or other partners understand that it can be a thing. I know sometimes women hold sex for hostage. Well, you ain't
Yeah,
getting none because
weaponizing it.
this. That's not a good thing.
Yeah,
Men
don't
hold
weaponize sex.
men hold women hostage because they don't want to explore to do the things that they want to do.
Exactly.
Okay. The desire. Sometimes you lose the desire because you're so tired. Now, this is real. Men or pause is real. And I'm gonna say that as a man. Men or pause. That's telling you men pause. Cause it's real. If the women doesn't want to have sex during that time, you got to understand because it is real. I've seen it. I've seen it happen where it's just it feels like a woman is just bursting into flames, and she looks like the guy from Fantastic Four, the guy that burst into
Oh my
flames
God.
because of that. So that's why they call it men or pause, because men, you need to pause when when a lady is going through menopause. So that's real. Routine.
Hmm.
When it's routine, you can't get bored if you do something over and over and over and over and over again, whatever. I don't see how you can, because if I'm looking at my wife and I desire my wife, or I'm looking at my husband, I desire my husband, or I'm looking at my partner and desire my partner, I'm going to adore them. I'm like so happy to be around them that even if even if it was routine, I'm still going to enjoy myself because I love being with that person. But change it up a little bit. It doesn't always have to be the way that you want it to be. Collaborate, get together again, pray on it. That helps, you know. And I know we way over, we way over, but I
Yeah.
got to get this out. And but that was the last part of the scripture.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. Yes.
So let's go back to that scripture. 1 Corinthians 7:3 and 5. This question, let me go back to the question, bro. Why are men emotionally detached when it comes to sex? We went over a few things of why. So you can go back to the village there, Harlem Brown, and let them know these are some of the things that are there. Men can be sensual to when it's the act, but you have to create, again, we're creating an environment and a safe space for that. But just like you have to understand menopause, like we have to understand menopause for you guys, you got to understand that we are working. And the guys who really get into it, they're working. That exerts a lot of energy. And the men are very tired if they're doing it right and hitting the right spots and getting the right reactions. First of all, you should be pleased with that. But at the same time, we are tired. So, yeah, you want to cuddle, but I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? So you got to realize and give us a pass on that. And it's not that we're not emotionally attached. It's just that we do the heavy lifting when it comes to that part. Okay. Now,
Okay.
again, switch it up where you can do the heavy lifting sometimes too. There are some things in some ways where you can do the heavy lifting, and then now you're together. But and I'm gonna say this to men because I always put the onus on us. We can be better too. We can be more emotionally attached after the act is over or during the act. And
Oh,
we're going
before
to be,
that.
because we watched the Late Bloomer and Harlem Brown's podcast, and they showed us ways that we can be better because we're more conscious about it. We understand the desires that women have. Like, please, just I would give it to you all the time if you're emotionally attached. Now, if you say that to a man, oh my God. That's words you want to hear. As long as you hear, give me some, give you some, we good. But when you like, can you wait? This, that's it becomes a problem. But you got to understand from there is frustration when you're backed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is desires that you have because you can sometimes fantasize about your wife before you go home, or fantasize about your husband before you go home. But since I'm keeping it on the men, we can fantasize about women and say, oh my God, when I get home, I want to show my wife how much I love her. I want to show my partner how much I love them. You know what I mean? That's real. And if you do things like that, this answers your question. You can take this back to the village, although I think they ain't get the question right anyway, but you can take this back to the village. Any last words, Harlem Brown? Any last words on this?
No, I have no last words on that one.
You've been pretty quiet on this one. I know, because it was a question from the village, and you guys.
Question for the men, so I'm just gonna let the men do what men do and handle it, and just it was just an awareness for men. So that's why it's
just an
for me to
awareness
be
for men.
quiet. Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
It was a peek into the village of what women talk about, so men can have some insight.
Yeah, well, I've had a great time talking about this. I think it's a great question. Shout out to the person that sent this question in, because I think it was a great question. Something for us to talk over and have a heart to heart about. And please, audience, send us your questions. Send us what you want us to talk about. This is something new that we're doing. And like I said, we promise we won't go over too much, but this was fun for me. I love this question because I think I want to have that heart to heart to let women know that, look, it's not just, we're going to put the onus on us, but at the same time, there's certain things that we need to, in order for us to have that safe space, a safe environment, so that we can be emotionally attached to you when it comes to sex or lovemaking. So if you don't have any last words, as I end on my podcast, trying to do something will keep you in your same place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am your host, the Late Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlem Brown, and we see you next week.